All right, they are going to switch out witnesses there inside of that Iowa courtroom. So while we wait for that to happen, let's bring in our guest who is standing by this hour from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. We have criminal defense attorney Michael Gottlieb with us. Michael, thank you for joining us. Tell us your thoughts on this case where we have co-defendants, one sitting there inside of the courtroom and one not standing trial until August.
Well, it's always a great strategy to say, look, I had nothing to do with it. This was all him. There's jealousy. We have, sort of a love triangle. And he's not there in front of this jury to defend himself to these allegations, which is exactly why we have separate trials. Because if she doesn't take the witness stand, he cannot confront and cross-examine her, even though that testimony is really coming out through cross-examination and through her lawyer. But it's very likely a good defense in this case was, look at his searches. It was him, not me.
Michael, let's talk about, they had a $500,000 life insurance policy. There's been testimony about that in opening statements. The prosecutor mentioned it, that she would receive $500,000 from the life insurance policy if her husband was to die. How much do life insurance policies play into a trial and jurors' decision as to whether someone shot their husband?
Well, it's technically irrelevant. And what I mean by that is it doesn't prove or disprove that somebody committed the crime. However, and the government never needs to prove motive. But in this case, the government has the ability to prove maybe why she would have wanted her husband out of the picture and why she would have wanted him dead as opposed to a divorce. There was a $500,000 windfall to her if he died, and if somebody was guilty of the murder that wasn't her. So it's a tremendous piece of evidence. Again, it's not relevant to prove whether she did or didn't commit the crime, because it's not an element of the crime. The government does not need to prove motive. But here, they have a motive, and that makes it a lot easier for a jury to attach onto the fact that maybe she's guilty.
Yeah, the defense agrees with you, Michael, of course, that the life insurance policy isn't relevant. They're even saying that she didn't touch it in those 3 years that she wasn't arrested. It's just sitting in a trust for her children. So we may hear that once this case either moves to the defense or they get their opportunity for a closing argument. Stand by, Michael. We're going to